Now let's discuss the GOAT of all female investors, and that is Cathie Wood. Here's her latest Bitcoin analysis, her price prediction, and as far as how high the crypto market cap will climb. She made some very bold predictions recently, making the rounds across all the mainstream media programs. So here's the latest of what Cathie Wood has to share. First, let's start with some tweets. Cathie Wood says something has changed in the SEC's attitude to a spot Bitcoin ETF. The chances of approval have gone up. If you agree with that sentiment, let me know. ETF analysts James Seyfart and Eric Balchunas give it a 90% chance that the spot Bitcoin ETF be approved by January 10th, which is the second deadline. The first deadline is this week, only 2 days away this Friday, the 17th. Now, she also says that $600,000 Bitcoin is the base case, but could go higher because of scarcity, institutional adoption, and the spot Bitcoin ETF. Facts. Now, if the SEC does not allow the conversion of GBTC into a spot Bitcoin ETF and Grayscale sues the commission in response, something to keep in mind, the approval schedule for all the Bitcoin ETFs could be postponed per ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood. So there is a black swan occurrence which could occur. We could all be anticipating this ETF potentially this week or by January 10th, but then the SEC does the inevitable and basically forces legal action by GBTC, pushing back the deadline. Once again, be prepared for all scenarios because we don't know how it's going to play out. Now, the CEO of ARK Invest, here was the interview. How many of you watched this? Let me know. I did some JV React sessions to these. She explains that Gary Gensler understands the technology behind Bitcoin very well. Quoting her, paraphrasing, yeah, he taught Bitcoin at MIT, which is fact. She believes Gary Gensler may be holding the spot Bitcoin ETF hostage due to his interest in becoming a Treasury Secretary. Fire Gary Gensler already. Replace this mofo with Hester Pierce, the crypto mom. This is shady as all hell. He's just looking out for his own best interests, not looking out for the best interests of the investors here in the United States, which couldn't be any more clear, personally, in my opinion. But anyways, let's discuss this $25 trillion prediction she shares by the year 2030. Appearing on CNBC Squawk Box today, ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood outlines her expectations for the crypto market as U.S. regulations become more clear and financial institutions become to adopt the asset class. And we all know that Bitcoin is already an asset class. Now, anyone owning Bitcoin knows this is global. Quoting her here, this is not just a U.S. opportunity, and it's big, says Wood. It's going to scale from a little more than $1 trillion today to $25 trillion market cap in 2030 as this new world builds out. Now, here's some perspective. Wood highlighted the growing interest from Wall Street firms in offering digital assets to their clients as the primary reason she's enthusiastic about the forthcoming price surge, particularly the application from BlackRock to offer the spot Bitcoin ETF with leading crypto exchange Coinbase as the custodian. Quoting her here, I think this regulatory breakthrough is very important to bring institutions online effectively, and I think BlackRock and Coinbase's partnership is going to be very important. Wood offers unique perspective on the institutional push into crypto, as she has been one of the earliest adopters of this asset class through ARK Invest. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she started accumulating Bitcoin at roughly $500 per coin. And if you do the math today, she's up more than 60x and just killing it. Now, one of the firms joining BlackRock in pursuit of the spot Bitcoin ETF offering, quoting her here, my bad here. She has been bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum for quite some time, explained the Street's crypto Aaron Arnold. She is known as a Coinbase investor and bull, and she recently named Solana as another crypto, which she likes. She is putting her capital where her mouth is, and of course, the big catalyst we're all waiting for is the approval of her and the host of other spot Bitcoin ETFs, including BlackRock's. Wood added that she believes the crypto market's growth over the next few years will be carried primarily by Bitcoin and Ethereum as the primary of the market share, which there already are, the two leading assets. And if you look at both either in Bitcoin or Ether, expectations is that the crypto asset ecosystem will be dominated by those two facts. And she added that her optimism is buoyed by her experience investing in early internet companies and the explosive growth that revolutionary tech seen to become mainstream. This feels like the early internet again, and it is a very, very big idea. Now, for Wood and many other convinced or convicted crypto investors, the value of this asset class stems primarily from its unique diversification away from legacy economies and central banks. This is a new asset class. It's a source of diversification, and we would add it's a hedge. Cathie Wood also calls Bitcoin a hedge against deflation as well as a hedge against inflation. And now for her most recent $1.48 million bullish price scenario for the King Crypto. Here we go. Cathie Wood, we know as the founder of ARK Invest, the investment firm with over $6 billion in assets under management, has come forward with a new price expectation for the King Crypto. The CEO chatted with history sheeter Natalie Brunell from the Coin Stories pod, where she made the new prediction. As Wood explains, the efforts of ARK Invest's research team have shown that Bitcoin's growth will be largely driven by institutional adoption. He expects a huge boom in digital assets as the next decade begins. Wood points to the trend towards adoption of new assets by these large institutional investors and how they often allocate their portfolios. As the CEO points out, 5 to 6% of institutional investor portfolios were allocated to assets like real estate after managers tested the waters. Bitcoin can be seen in the testing water stage, where institutional investors are still only putting 1% into the digital asset just to see how it turns out. Then gradually they expand their allocation until they reach the 5 to 6% range. Now, when that happens, as Wood mentioned earlier, Bitcoin will cross that 6-figure mark. Word up. Now, Wood told Natalie that she wants the price of Bitcoin to surpass $1 million by 2030. But that doesn't mean that the CEO doesn't expect the digital asset to grow further, as she puts it as high as $1.48 million per coin over the next 7 years. Let me know if you agree or disagree. The founder of ARK Invest further points out that some companies are already starting to exceed the conservative 1% allocation. Quoting her here, Tesla, Square have Bitcoins on their balance sheet, but we make very cautious assumptions, and I think the corporate treasury assumption, 2.5% of all cash and cash equivalents into Bitcoin. Quoting her again, and if we are right and the purchasing power of Bitcoin will become so evident in the coming years, that means purchasing power will increase instead of cash dollars, now remaining very flat, if not worsening in real terms. More and more corporate treasuries are going to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So there you have it, fam. What are your thoughts surrounding her $1.48 million bullish Bitcoin price scenario by 2030? Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. And as I mentioned, her new base case is above $600,000 per coin. Send it and let's freaking go. You already know with a 25 trillion market cap, it is going to be lit. And yes, Bitcoin has the potential to run up to multiple 7 figures, especially as she pointed out, once those allocations from asset managers rise from just a 1 or 2% to a 5, 6, 7%, 10%, game on. We're talking about unprecedented levels of money entering Bitcoin, and especially when we got that ETF, which is the green light for the money to come. And we're talking about a total addressable market north of $700 trillion. So there's plenty of capital in the world. And right now, the market of Bitcoin I would describe as nascent, just a pup getting started. For real, for real.